Well, for someone who loves the FA Cup as much as me, there's not often going to be a scenario where it's acting as a dress rehearsal. But today, that is exactly what it's doing. We've got a chance to win a Premier League title, we've got a chance to win the FA Cup. But ultimately, the thing we're really thinking about is the game in 4 days' time against Real Madrid. These next two episodes could define a very special season at Southend, but equally, it could define a very disappointing one. We've already lost in one cup final this year. We've got two more guaranteed and a Premier League title race. Will it go wrong at the wrong time or will it go right when we most need it? Yes, hello and welcome along to part 131 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. We are back today with a chance to wrap up the Premier League title with a game to spare, something that would be really rewarding, particularly given the fact we've got an FA Cup final and a Champions League final on the horizon. And then 4 days later, we will face Newcastle in the FA Cup final. Wembley Stadium will see a game between two sides that often produce thrillers, and Newcastle under Arne Slot now having a much better season at finishing third or fourth, depending on how they go in their last two games. So if you're looking forward to seeing how we get on today, whether we can wrap up one or two trophies, then please do put a thumbs up on it. As you know from the last episode, we've got a number of injuries, but Sheffield United are without one of their stars today. Kieran Peacock is on loan from us, so he's unable to play. To be fair to him, he is finally improving a bit there. Maybe not enough to get himself into the first team action here. If they want to sign him for 47 million, I'll be happy to take that from them. Let's go and have a look though at the medical centre, because that is really the key news today. Ivanov, Memic, Torres and Fair all going to be missing, and it does leave us with a couple of difficult scenarios because we've only really got two senior strikers fit now, those being Ashley Carr and Joe Wills, who need to stay in form. We're obviously without a centre midfielder and without our first choice right back. And with Kivrakidis still throwing his toys out the pram about playing in a box-to-box role and Jimenez not really being good enough, it just means in two or three positions we've not really got what we need. Let's go and have a look at the schedule though, because we played one game off camera away at bottom side Southampton. And to be honest with you, bar one little scare, we played them off the park. We did have a scenario at 1-0 where they scored a goal from a corner, but it was offside. Aguiman, Vasquez and Yucolano got our goals here. Vasquez, it was an absolute screamer, maybe just coming back to form when it matters. And Aguiman still having to play because of course he's the only right back now. You can see from the bench, Humphreys, Charlton and Magwood, all academy players. Curley, a very much utility man. And Carlos only came on because Curley got injured once he came on. So not particularly strong side that we put out there, but it was enough to do the job. And now we've got 4 games left in the season and everything rides on it. 3 competitions we could win, but we've already lost one in the final. We thankfully haven't got to play Liverpool again, but Sheffield United will be stiff opposition. Let's go and get through to the fixtures. Dynamics still looking excellent, as you can see. Only Kivrakidis unhappy. What can we put out today? We've got a strong side on paper, but is it going to be enough? We know Sheffield United are absolutely brilliant at their best. They've caused us trouble before. So let's go and see what team we can put out in this one. I've picked a side and I've picked a bench that I think might be able to do a job. I made the decision that I was going to go as close to first team as possible today and in the FA Cup final. And if we didn't win it today and it ended up going to the United match, then just tough basically for us. But I have made a couple of decisions within that. So at the back, we've got real struggles with some of the fitness. Rakowski has got the heaviest match load, been covering right back, centre half and wherever else. So Hansen's got a light match load, having just returned from injury. He played against Southampton. He stays in alongside Herbert. No real change to the quality of the team. In midfield, we've got the same scenario with Marciano, who'd been injured for a few weeks. So he stays in after Torres' injury instead of Kivrakidis, who is the other man who gets a complete rest from the squad. Memic, it suggests, might be back for the United and Real Madrid games, but not yet. So what we've done up front, we've stuck with the 2 strikers, but both Worcester and Magwood are on the bench. Vasquez and Jimenez are there as potential striker options. And I've also played Adamson ahead of Vasquez on the left, despite the heavier match load. And the reason is, Vasquez is the informed one at the minute, so he's going to be the one to start in the FA Cup final. So it's still pretty much our first 11, but there is a little bit of change where we've made a few adjustments. That means our 11 for today in full is Jude Sadler in goal, Aguiman and Carlos the fullbacks with Herbert and Hansen as centre half, Robertson and Adamson the wingers, Bernberg and Marciano the midfield two, and up front is the only two that are fit in Ashley Carr and Joe Wills. The dream scenario: get 3 or 4 up in this game, rest both strikers, rest Aguiman, and maybe rest 1 or 2 in the midfield. But for now, it's just about trying to win the title. So if all else fails in the 2 cup finals, we've at least won a big one yet again. 3 Premier League titles in a row. Can we make it 4? Well, here we go. Kieran Peacock being forced out, one of 2 changes for Sheffield United under Russell Martin, as on the bench today is Paul Vanna, someone who'd normally start. We've got to bear in mind what a good side they are, what a fantastic season they've had. But obviously you've also got to consider that Arsenal won't be playing till the weekend, because this is a game that would have been at the weekend if we weren't in the FA Cup final. So to get it in early is a real benefit in this scenario, because we could take the complete control of this title race and have it won without worrying about Arsenal. So today, the 100% focus goes on us. There's nothing about other results, scorelines or anything else. It's just about doing a job with Southend United. It's been a quiet start. It looks like Sheffield United are dominating possession. But early doors, we get the first highlight and we won the ball back with Aguiman. Hansen at centre-half. Back to fitness when it matters. Finds Herbert. And now Peter Bernberg up to Wills. He's running on empty, but he's still going, is the lad. He's produced some magical moments, as has Ashley Carr, who puts that away. But it looked offside, and I think it will be. VAR will check. I mean, if this is on, huge questions need to be asked of the Sheffield United defence, because where were they? They were in a good defensive line. That's where they were. The offside trap worked. It stays 0-0. Ashley Carr almost had another big moment. There's a free kick for Sheffield United at the other end. Ball into the box is headed away. Ashley Carr tries to get there, but Jorg Robertson does, and he can break down the right with Carr steaming ahead of him. Robertson continues to go alone until Marciano arrives, and that's a really poor touch to turn inside. Now Zagara can break the other way. It's a bit open, this. Lots of space in behind both defences as Zagara cuts into the centre circle. There's a big switch out to the right. Carlos has defending to do, but he's been beaten with ease. Doesn't even make the challenge. Thankfully, the shot is high and over the bar. A terrible defending from the left back. Carlos has a throw on the left now. Hopefully he can make amends going forward as Bernberg. Back to Herbert. Again patient in possession. But we've got to find the opening at some point. As Herbert cuts inside to Joe Wills. Back to Hansen, the central defender, and Marciano. 2 options wide, but it's a lovely turn. Runs away from the defender as Ashley Carr sets up Jorg Robertson, who makes no mistake from the finish. Don't get me wrong, he's not been consistently brilliant this season. He's had pockets and spells as Jorg Robertson, where he has really been the man. What a signing he's proved to be. Ashley Carr influential again. With a quarter gone from 1 shot on target, it's a 1-0 lead for Southend United, and that will be enough for the title. As we return on the right-hand side with 10 minutes to go to the break, Jorg Robertson involved again. Good cross towards Adamson. It's away as far as Peter Bernberg. And a fantastic save from Harrison. Look, I've criticised Bernberg a lot this year, but he has really been improving the last 4 or 5 games, putting good performances. It's a corner kick with Wills to the back post to Herbert. He scores goals galore, doesn't get on that one. And Adamson's shot is blocked, but he's having a better game too. And he wins it back there for Marciano. Can we keep the pressure on in that final third? We're being forced back. In the end, I'm afraid it does just dwindle, that attack. We're back with Ashley Carr in a dangerous position for a free kick. We all saw what he did in a Champions League semi-final. I've also seen the other 199 that have been awful. Can he make it 2 superstar ones in a row? Ashley Carr, almost, just over. Stays 1-0. 5 to the break. It's getting closer. And I'm starting to feel that first hand going on to the Premier League trophy. As Sheffield United come forward down the right. Vostrikov's looked to threaten this half. It blazed that one good chance they had over as it's back to the goalkeeper Harrison. He's basically coming out of his final third there. Beetle goes back to him again. We're trying to stop them playing out, but it does feel like there's space as Bernberg's beaten. Stockbridge gets into Ray. Gets it out to the left to Zagara. Played on by the fullback. And that is a really bad miss. I'm celebrating it like a goal because that should have been 1-1. A real warning sign for Southend. We survive it. At the break, it's a little bit nervy. It's a little bit tense compared to what I'd like. But we are ahead and we're on course for the trophy. And that is what matters. There are 3 big trophies left to play for. And the objective every season is make sure you win one of the 4. If we win this, it takes a bit of pressure off the next 2. Aguiman's picked up a knock, and that is about the worst injury we could get. As Hansen goes wide to Robertson, we'll think about taking him off in a minute. Robertson breaks down the right. A second goal would make it an easier decision. Robertson to the byline, up to the back post to Adamson. Space to play in, and Marciano scores. Third of the season for him after joining in January. What a move it was indeed. Adamson really coming back to form when it matters. And Aguiman is now going to come off. We're going to move Carlos to the right. De Angelis on at left back. I don't know that I want to do anything else just for now. I think we're going to leave it a few more minutes. Although, I might do Jimenez for Bernberg there and put Marciano as the deep line playmaker. We'll give it 5 or 10 more. Ideally, I want to give the two strikers 20 minutes off. And I'd probably want to do the same with Jorg Robertson. You can see Will starting to struggle there. So we're going to go Will's off for... It's going to have to be Worcester. And we're going to have to go also... I could bin Vasquez on for one of them. So what we'll do is we'll go Magwood and we'll go Vasquez up front. Vasquez, how tall are you? Not enough to be the target man. And then we'll take Jorg Robertson off for Yucalano and leave it at those 5. I'd really like to take Herbert off, but I don't think I can afford to do that. It's still only 2-0 and they're still a threat. So I want to be quite careful with that. If we hadn't had the injury, maybe we could have changed our decision. As Adamson finds Magwood. Still yet to get off the mark, the youngster. It's a good little run this, though. Cuts it back towards Marciano, into Jimenez. And if nothing else, he's involved in a really good attack there. Arguably, should have scored that one. But good work from Magwood, the youngster, who's starting to grow. As Yucalano's got the in-swinging corner to the back post towards Hansen. Goalkeeper deals with that easily, and it's rolled out quick. Look at him trying to counter. No idea who that pass was for. There was no one up there. I think we're going to do it, you know. 10 minutes to go and we're 2-0 up. Surely we can't make a mess of this. I know we've thrown away leads this season, but we look strong here. Jimenez wins it for Magwood. Lovely footwork from the youngster. Good ball across to Vasquez as well. He's got space to run into as he drifts to his natural wide position. Into Yucalano. Magwood! Oh, what a crowning moment that is. Mikey Magwood gets his first ever Southend goal. The first genuine superstar through our academy. And his first goal is the moment that wraps up for sure the Premier League title. What a day it is for him. And what a day it is for Southend United. It was the one thing that had really been missing prior to this season. We just didn't have any brilliant youth players come through. And Mikey Magwood, he's going to be the one. He's going to make it before the end of this save. And at 3-0, with him getting the third goal, we become Premier League champions. Marciano unfortunately picks up a knock. It was a lot tighter than last season where no one really considered competing at all. But this time around, we've been challenged all the way. But Southend United have found a way to win. And for the 4th time, we are Premier League champions in this save. Lewis Herbert, with some massive moments in the season, will lift the trophy. And what a moment for Mikey Magwood to get the crucial goal at the end. Southend United Premier League champions. A magnificent moment. And now takes the pressure off the next 2 games a little bit. We start the proper run into the season with the FA Cup final at the weekend. We'll be back in a moment for that one against Newcastle United at Wembley. Well, thanks to our January sale of Dion Kranic, our transfer spend is back in the green quite significantly, despite the fact this was the first year I really went for it a bit. If we go and have a look at the fitness test though, it is FA Cup final time. Marciano not quite making it. Hansen probably the same. I think they'll be on the bench. Whereas Memic and Torres, we save them for another week. Let's go and have a look at the fixtures today though. See how we stack up. Newcastle United, we know how good they are. They've got players on 600 grand a week. They've been revolutionised by Arne Slot, who has come in and got them back in that top 4 and competing at the very top end. So let's go through the tactical meeting. What have they gone for? Aaron Moore's back in at the back. James Simpson, Helguera on the left. Yeah, this is a good team. Let's see what we can put out though, because we've got a few problems with match load. You can see Adamson, Wills, Carlos all suggested to not be fully fit. But look, if you can't gamble in an FA Cup final, when can you? We can now rest everyone against United next week, so that doesn't matter so much. We're going to get the strongest team out I can think of, and we'll be back in a minute to run through it. Well, I've picked my squad, and all I can say is this. I really hope we don't need to turn to the bench for a goal, because Joe Wills is going to have to start without the full fitness. Casey Worcester is on the bench, but is he fit? Not really. My only other thought was whether I could take off one of the centre halves from the bench and maybe even chuck on Magwood as a second striker option, and I might well do that. Let's just get Mikey Magwood on the bench. I'm sure he'll be able to do a job. He'll come on for Hansen, who's not fully fit. Vite can then still be a sub centre half. Carlos has dropped out for De Angelis because in that position it's a bit different. There's not much between them. I might also need Carlos as a sub right back rather than a left back, so I'm trying to be tactically clever. And I know he doesn't like playing there, but there's no option with Kivrakidis. Marciano hasn't made it after that knock in the week. He's not fit enough to start the game. Jimenez isn't good enough. He's shown it in the big games before. Ivo Torres is still injured. I've got no other choice, so he's going to have to do the job. So as a result, we're a little bit limited with selection today, and the squad has been pinned down a bit more than normal. The fact that my sub-strikers are Worcester and Magwood is telling you an awful lot about this. We can get 2 or 3 up, even 1 up with 10 to go. I might just take Wills off and put a midfielder on. Potentially, could even chuck Vasquez or Robertson up there. For now, though, it is Jude Sadler in goal. De Angelis and Aguiman the fullbacks, with Rakowski returning at centre-half alongside skipper Herbert. Bernberg is joined by Kivrakidis in the middle. Robertson is joined by Vasquez on the left. And Carr is up front alongside Wills because they're the only 2 that are fit. Let's go and submit the team for the FA Cup final and hope we can make it 2 big trophies in a single season for the first time. Well, on the slot side have made 3 changes. We know the quality they've got and they're taking the mick out of us with that Yuri on the bench because he's the one that we tried to sign last summer. They offered him 600 grand a week. He would be perfect for that box-to-box role where we've got no fit players today. Aaron Moore is the player that spent most of his career at Newcastle and Real Madrid after we tried to sign him from Watford for £14 million. So let's just say, prove a point, boys. I've got you inspired. Attackers, I have faith in you. I really want to see you do well. Ashley Carr, you were the hero in a Champions League semi-final. You've had a lot of tough moments in your Southend career, but today you could become a hero again. I love the FA Cup. We've only won it once, and I'd love to win it a few times before we finish. So let's go and see if we can change that today, make it a second crown against Newcastle United. Well, 4 minutes on the clock, and we're on the attack down the left with Vasquez, who got it from the throw-in of De Angelis. Herbert keeping the ball for Rakowski, and we're looking very nice in possession with Peter Bernberg. Finds Kivrakidis, wills to Carr, gets in, and it's a great save. Really, really good goalkeeping, but still, as the commentary highlights, maybe Ashley Carr should have scored. Is he now going to have one of those moments in this game after being the hero last time we had a big one? The goalkeeper claims the corner. It's a massive chance to Ashley Carr. It's 0-0, but it should be 1. Unfortunately, we've let it slip. As we get it on the right with Jorg Robertson. Ball forward is pretty poor. Moore intercepts it and plays forward to Lozano. With support out wide from Simpson. Another player we've tried to sign in the past. He just carries it all the way down the wing. Back into the midfield in the end. And now Galaza. João Gomez still out incidentally as Diaz is in for 1-0. And they have taken their chance. I was just telling you that João Gomez, our former player, was still out injured from that time we last played. But here, it's starting to look like a worrying sign. 11 gone. Newcastle are ahead. And if we're going to win this one, it needs to be another thriller against Newcastle. Not often, we haven't had one. But today, we need 2 goals. As it's down the right-hand side again, we're in a little bit of trouble here. Really struggling to deal with them. Bernberg wins it back for De Angelis. He's come in. And to be honest, that's where the goals come from. That's even worse from Herbert, the skipper. Sadler bails him out. It's starting to look a little bit nervy and disjointed. We've fallen apart after conceding. And after early dominance, that Ashley Carr miss could be crucial. Would have just settled us down. Bernberg finds Aguiman. No, Robertson to Wills. Lovely spin. Great block by the defender. Didn't even let him get his shot away. Galaza can now break and it could get worse. Imagine you're in that position 6 yards out and you concede. Jorg Robertson doesn't want it to happen. Great work from him. It is now imperative that for the 20 minutes remaining of this half, we do not go in more than 1 goal down. Yes, if we can score, brilliant. But make sure you're not more than 1 down at the break. We know we've got late goals in us. We trust our side to do that. And Ashley Carr from a free kick is almost the answer to it. It's a corner kick. We've demanded a bit more because, again, the morale's a little bit all over the place. Lord knows what I'm going to do without touchline shouts next year. As Vasquez has the in-swinging corner, Joe Wills at the back post. He's already knackered. What do I do with no strikers on a day like this? Wills on corner duty again, up to the back post. We need a set piece or something. I don't know where else it comes from. Carter Kivrakidis, good ball to Robertson. Only one in the middle. Moore heads it off the line, but there was no attacker there. Could have just left it for his keeper. Vasquez tries to break down the left. That's a good ball. The car might have been off. Kivrakidis on the volley. Just over the bar. It's a good effort from him. But at half-time, it will be 1-0 to our opponents. And Joe Wills is absolutely cream-crackered. Vasquez is having a terrible game. I don't really know what the answer is here. I feel like I've not got the bench to change the game, which isn't often the case. And maybe we're sort of edging towards a defeat here. I mean, I'll exchange it for winning in Champions League. I honestly will. I don't really want to give it up, as Gerardo's got a throw on the left. Jorg Robertson is now struggling. And Helguera's got the chance to cross. Only 55 gone, and we're out on our feet. Cross is deflected to Santas. And now you have to ask what chance we've got. Genuinely, where do we go from here? It just feels like we've run out of players and steam at the wrong time. An hour gone. Newcastle have dominated as well, to be fair. Arne Slot's had his fair share of good days against us. So what we're going to do, we're going to go attacking. We're going to get some subs on. It will be Vite on for Agyeman with Rakoski out to right back. It will be Robertson off for Yukalano. Adamson on for Vasquez. Joe Wills, what do I even do? I think I'm going to bring on Joaquin Jimenez up front. Is he a better goal scorer than Worcester? I don't know. Worcester just hasn't scored for us for about 2 seasons. Whereas at least Joaquin Jimenez has got a few goals. Which way's the best to go? I think I have to leave Wills on. I think I do. We're going to go Bernberg off, who's anxious. And that will be for Marciano with Kivrakidis switching over. And we're just going to try and chase it with those 4 made. I might chuck Carlos on 5 minutes later. I might need to bring Jimenez on. But I just feel so limited on the bench. Imagine we had Nana Fair. Imagine we had Ivanov. Even one of them to bring on. It would make a huge difference here. But we've got 2 strikers that have just played every game for the last month. As Vite gets the ball in the middle to Kivrakidis. Could have dropped him in centre-half. Yukalano to Carr. Yukalano again. Does the comeback start here? You bet it does. We've still got game changers on the bench as Julian Yukalano scores. Our right wingers love a late goal against Newcastle, don't they? And now we could have a grandstand finish. 15 to go. De Angelis knackered and on a yellow. Jan Carlos, he's not fully fit, but he is one hell of an attacking fullback as Rakoski throws into Carr. Back to Kivrakidis. Wills is done. I mean, if we do get to extra time, he'll have to come off for Jimenez. Maybe even Magwood. How big do we go then? Kivrakidis finds Herbert and now Vite. If anything, we're starting to look like the control inside. Wide to Adamson. He's pretty fresh. Gets to the byline. What a ball! Headed away by Moore, who's been exemplary today. Why didn't we sign him all those years ago? Adamson in again. Ashley Carr off the bar. Oh, is he going to have that moment? We're going straight from the goal kick again. Newcastle are under big pressure here. We've gone attacking and they're struggling to cope. They must be tired as well. And they've given it away to Yukalano on the right, who has made a whole heap of difference in this game. Herbert works the ball forward. It's terrible. He's done that 3 times today. Lewis Herbert, the skipper, has had an absolute stinker. And that's gone just wide. It could have cost us the final. As it is, we've still got a chance. There are 10 minutes to go. We're growing back into it. But now, Newcastle seem to have taken element of control again. As Galaza on the right, the skipper is just keeping possession. Can we nick it and counter? And can either of the strikers summon enough energy to get up in support of it? As Lozano keeps the ball. You can see we can't press up there. Galaza again. Back to the centre-half. It's good football from Newcastle. They're managing the game well. And Moore's just taking his time. I can see it being 3-1 here, if anything. Through ball towards corner. It's got to be the goalkeeper, has it? No, it's back to Helguera. Into the box. Galaza in. I think we can finally call that cup tie over. We had to chase the game. We had to go for it. But unfortunately, it'll be defeat in the FA Cup final. 1 trophy as it stands, but the big one is still to come. We're just going to have to rest these boys for 2 weeks. If it means Worcester and Magwood play against Manchester United next week, who cares? It's now a dead rubber. We have to watch Newcastle lift the FA Cup, a trophy we've won before, but we have lost both domestic cup finals at Wembley this season. We've got a Premier League title though, and next week, after playing Manchester United, it will be a Champions League final for the first ever time. Part disappointment in this episode, but let's be honest, of the domestic competitions, we've won the big one, but we've lost the one we've never won before, and we've also lost the one that I love the most, which makes it frustrating. For 2 weeks now, we're just going to wrap everyone in cotton wool, because the big game is coming in the next episode. We will be back for the Champions League final, the first ever for Southend United. Real Madrid, the most successful side in Champions League history. I'm looking at the team news there. It'd be lovely if Nana Fair could get himself on the bench, just so we've got a game changer. Manchester United to come before that as well. Then a season review. And of course, the bookmark to follow that as well. If you enjoyed this one, part disappointment and part elation, as we add another Premier League trophy to the cabinet. We reached the top 10 of English managers in the history of the Hall of Fame in this country. And we also make sure that we keep our little run going of winning a big trophy each year. We want to make it too, though. We want to make history in the Champions League. Come and join me in a couple of days' time to find out if we can. In the meantime, subscribe and turn that notification bell on to make sure you don't miss anything else. We've had a very big week in the coach's head where you guys have been deciding my next job, and we're now just moving into that and getting going at our new club. We've also got plenty over on the podcast channel where the EFL football season is up and running. You can come and get involved with our prediction shows and much more over there. There's also the Twitch channel for regular live streams and so many more playlists and that across the channel. But thank you very much for being here for a mixed episode, it must be said. And the next one is the one we're really worried about. Can we win a Champions League with Southend United?